Mark Rogers TV running down positional units across the country. We stop in the ACC at Winston-Salem and talk quarterbacks at Wake Forest with Robert Reinhard from Blogger So Dear. Robert, always appreciate the time. John Wolford's a kid that we've talked about in the past who was thrown into the fire as a true freshman, responded very well. Don't look at the stats necessarily, but definitely withstood under severe pressure most games. Took on his sophomore season last year with 9 touchdowns, 11 picks. Anything you saw in regards to progression from Wolford, and how do you feel about his junior season upcoming?
Yeah, I mean, progression can be tough to judge, as you mentioned. Yeah, definitely can not judge him by the stats, but so much. I mean, the play of the offensive line has been the last 2 years, though I will say it got better last year. And at times you would see, especially earlier on in the season when he was definitely healthier, I would say. I mean, against Syracuse and teams like that, when he had time, he can throw a nice ball, but there are also times where he a little bit, and part of his struggles with accuracy come from deflections at the line of scrimmage, and part of that has to do with his height. So, and I was still seeing some of that in the spring game. So that may be something that he just can't correct. I guess you can work on schemes to roll him outside of the pocket more, but I think he has some flashes. I figured he would win the job last year just based on Hinton only having one spring practice to compete with him, but now, and Wolford starting his entire true freshman season, but now I think the race really sets up for this fall. But he is definitely more accurate than Hinton. At least he was last season. A lot can change over spring practice and the fall, but that's what he brings to the table, I would say.
Yeah, you can look at the numbers, and you don't have to watch too much to obviously see the difference between the two quarterbacks. Kendall Hinton rushing for 7 touchdowns, almost 400 yards last year, and as you mentioned, only hitting on 52% of his passes. So is it a matter of just who plays better in August, or do you think the coaching staff is leaning in one direction in regards to the type of offense that they would like to run, or maybe just they're looking to complement Wolford regardless and bring Hinton into the game to give that change up?
Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, they a little bit of everything. I mean, last year we even saw a few times. I mean, you mentioned Hinton's rushing ability and his rushing touchdowns. There were times where he almost started at running back, and they had the two of them on the field at the same time just to give that threat of Hinton's athletic ability and try and get him on the field. And with regards to what kind of style of quarterback we're looking at, Hinton's definitely more of a dual threat, but they really seem to recruit him because of his arm and because of the different throws they thought he could make. Jamie Newman, he'll redshirt this year most likely. He is more of a dual threat, but they also recruited him because of his arm. And then Kyle Kearns, he is a very traditional pro-style quarterback, and then a 2017 recruit who obviously not relevant to this year, but he's, I would say, more of a pro-style quarterback who they've recruited. So it's tough to figure out exactly what they're looking for. I mean, I think they really value accuracy and strong decision-making would be the two things I would say they would take over anything. So more than just ability to make plays with your feet, I would say, is which quarterback is going to make the best decisions out there. And that's probably even more relevant considering we're going to get with the offensive line. So they're going to be under pressure, and knowing just either when to take a sack, when to throw it away, and just try and keep the team in the game as long as possible.
I'm going to take all that in, Robert, and call it like 70-30 Wolford's situation right now in his favor. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, percentages are tough, but I would say that sounds like a clear favorite. And I would say he probably is a clear favorite to start, though, we'll see what happens. That, a hedge there, but one thing I would like to see personally is, obviously you can't control for injuries. They rotated in back and forth a lot last year. Part of that had to do with injuries, but I'm not saying just go with one guy regardless, but I felt like it was difficult for the offense to get in a rhythm a bit last year just based on uncertainty. So I would like to see if they go with Wolford, if they go with Hinton, certainly give them several games to give them, to prove and lose it, really.
Yeah, it seemed like in looking over the game logs that Wolford probably played about 75% of the snaps. And you mentioned Kyle Kearns. And if you just look at recruiting rankings, got to be optimistic about him coming in as the 12th rated pocket passer out of California in that 2015 class. All right, Robert Reinhard, blogger So Dear, helping us set up Wake Forest this fall at the quarterback position. Thanks, Robert.
Hey, thank you.